Welcome to this episode of Into the Pages. This episode we're going to be continuing our read of Wind and Truth. We ended on day 3 and we're going to go into day 4 through 8. Let's go.
Podcast.
I think we left last time. You told me to pay attention to Sigzil's spren, and that the spren we know from Sunlit Man is auxiliary, but soon we discovered that this is not the spren he's been working with.
Yeah, it's a different spren. Yeah, because the spren name in Sunlit Man is auxiliary, but his radiant spren is Vienta in this book.
Mm-hmm. That raises a bunch of questions. I wonder if he's in a similar position as Shallan, where...
Well, we know that because he told the auxiliary that he broke his oaths.
So I wonder if...
And so he's either going to break his oaths with Vienta, or Vienta's going to get stabbed with a anti-Stormlight
That's
knife.
what I'm wondering too.
And then he's going to break his oaths with auxiliary or something.
Yeah. I wonder if Vienta is a Deadeye somewhere even. Could be a possibility. And
It's
he
possible.
just keeps it to himself.
Yeah, it's just hard to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a call out there.
I'm scared to see what's going to happen. I think the big part you were thinking was like crazy when you were telling me to get to chapter 100 was we find out that Wit has one of the shards, one of the Dawn shards.
Which we kind of knew because of Sunlit Man. Because Sigzil says that Wit asked him to hold it. I guess it never said if he gave it back or when he had it, but didn't come with 100% as a surprise. But yeah, there was an interlude. It was interesting to see because Risen has a Dawn shard, and Wit has a Dawn shard. I don't remember. Did it say how many there are? Is there 3 or 4? 4. And
I remember.
Those were we used to kill Aiden Alcium. It's kind of interesting to see their reaction when they come together. That's what Wit sensed Risen coming into the tower and investigated, and then their powers tried to combine.
And I think somehow Wit stopped it because Risen Sir wasn't doing nothing.
He did something temporarily, then he was just like, "We'll never meet again," and then it kind of leaves. So, and then she comes with a plan. I don't remember if she said she was leaving the planet or if she was just going to hide. I don't remember. Do you remember what she said with the Sleepless?
They didn't specifically say. She just kind of said she was going to move on to one of her own plans instead of continuing her all the negotiations she was trying to do with the plans of her chair and what they're going to do with that technology.
Yeah, because she was trying to get patent payments and stuff.
Yeah, so I wonder if we'll really see where Risen goes.
Yeah.
If there'll be any more interludes, maybe we'll see something like that, or maybe it'll be kind of like in passing, like, oh yeah, Risen had the thing, but then she died, and now I have it, or something.
This book has been interesting. I've been thinking about it a lot the last couple days. The progression of Stormlight. Because I felt like the whole time I've been reading Wind and Truth, I felt kind of jarred. Like it didn't have the same feel as the other 4 books. And, well, maybe 3.5 books, because Rhythm of War started almost feeling like this a little bit. And I think it's because, Wave Kings, Words of Radiance, Oathbringer, those are all, contained in Roshar. Those are all just this is happening in Roshar, and nothing else really matters in the Cosmere right now. And this is Kaladin's story and Shallan's story. And then End of Rhythm of War, it kind of starts to get a little bit bigger than that. And then in this book, it's just it almost feels similar to Sunlit Man, where there's just constant Cosmere revelations, and almost started to feel to me like a different story, which I don't know how I feel about that. It almost
Sure.
Not dissing on Brandon, but I don't know if I like the way that this book is going.
Oh.
That came out wrong. I like the book. I think I love it. And I think it's going to be a good conclusion to the first arc of the Stormlight Archives. But I feel like everything's happening so fast. we have, and maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's just me and a personal preference on me, but that you have Zeth and Kaladin, who are in Shinovar doing their thing. And then we're learning about the past with Dalinar and Navani and Shallan and R'lain and Renarin all trapped in the spiritual realm, and Gav. And just all the things that are happening. Like, I think it's intentional, because also we learn about, like, oh, there's these remnants of Aden Alcium left, the wind, the stone, and the night. And we have a little bit of perspective from the stones because of Venli, and then Kaladin starting to talk with the wind. But it almost feels like just like completely, like, unless I completely missed it, there was like no foreshadowing to any of this in any of the other books.
I would agree with that. I didn't see any.
That's kind of why it feels like jarring to me, because now it's not about Spren, and it's not about the High Storm and Roshar and like surviving against the Stingers. All of a sudden it's about like it's completely different stuff.
The wider Cosmere almost.
And like it just seems like the characters have gone like complete, like they're going this way and all of a sudden they're like this and like this and like this and like this.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think that that's intentional, because maybe that's how the characters feel, especially as they learn more about the past. Dalinar sees pretty much everything that's happened since humans came from Ashen to Roshar, and him and Navani are trying to solve the mystery of why Honor won't get a vessel. And they're seeing all these things, and they're understanding on a deeper level. And I think it's kind of also, it's opening up the stage to a Cosmere conflict, to a Cosmere book, rather than this is a nice little story on Scadrial. Oh, this is a nice little story on Nothis. Like, no, it's going to be full-blown Cosmere. And you can just tell, because I think I realized, seeing like the visions of the past and seeing that this war that's going on is really a war between Honor and Odium. And they're just using the Heralds, the Fused, the Radiance, and Spren as just proxies.
Yeah, and they're just like pawns. And
then the only reason that's happening is because Odium it needs to be contained, and like the other shards don't care. And then it's like, just seeing like this, it just felt kind of jarring to me to also just have this zoom out, and then almost this entire story didn't even seem like Stormlight. It just seemed like a 1,300 page, or however many pages day 8 gets to, like Cosmere history lesson.
It has kind of felt like that, I guess you could say.
Yeah, but at the same place, like, where else would he go? Because like all the characters in Rhythm of War like completed their like big arcs. We talked about this last episode.
Yeah.
Like all the characters, every last one of them that I'm aware. I mean, there's a few that are little minor characters have had like completing arcs. Like Rhythm of War was like, oh, that was a nice ending, and then so this book is kind of almost feels like a Disney sequel, where you're like, okay, yeah, like it works, like okay, but things are just kind of happening. Like none of this felt like the build-up didn't really feel like it was getting to this.
I feel the opposite, actually.
Okay, I had a feeling it was just me, but
like I feel like the Way of Kings was really concentrated, just like that was just a Roshar story, and then slowly throughout the rest of the books, it slowly zooms out more and more, and then you get more of the Cosmere, more of like what's going on between Odium and Honor, and you slowly get everything else that's going around in the Cosmere. And then now here we are at Wind and Truth, and now it's not just about Roshar in some degree, because we use the Odium who wants Teravantian wants to do more than just unite Roshar. He wants to take over everything. So it's always felt like to me like this has been building up to a wider Cosmere thing that's bigger than Roshar.
Maybe it's the way the book is formatted, because this whole book is just supposed to be 10 days. And so all of these huge, massive, life-altering revelations that these characters are having are happening in hours and minutes and seconds.
Yeah.
Rather than
weeks and months that we usually see. Yeah.
And it just kind of felt a little jarring to me.
Yeah, that part definitely is that's what I would say is jarring for me as well, is that it is happening a lot quicker. There's not as much downtime for characters to kind of like, oh wow, this thing, and then they can kind of absorb
like
that.
There's no like a week later, and Galadin was still depressed.
It's just like 2 seconds later, and it feels like, yeah, each one of these characters just got their own pretty big arc that it's been going that way since like Oathbringer. I almost feel like it doesn't seem like after Words of Radiance they were all kind of like in the same thing. They were all like on the Shattered Plains doing their thing and working towards, unification and defeating their enemies and stuff like that. And to now, like, then all these characters are going off on their own, and then we get more than what we had before. Like, we've got this whole thing with Szeth going on, and it's not just, Kaladin and Dalinar, Adolin, Shallan, and we got like R'hllane and Renarin now that we can see, and we've got this. We're seeing everything going on with Sigzil and like Yasna and Fen over in Thelina. So it feels to me like there's a lot more going on in a shorter amount of time. Or there's a lot more people to cover, and there's less time in world than any other book. So it definitely feels like it's.
But again, I don't know if there's any other way this book could have been written. Just because Rhythm of War ended with, well, in 10 days everything's kind of gonna end, one way or the other. So it's like, how do you write a book that's 10 days? Well, there you go. Yeah. You make parts in 10 days.
Oh, quite right.
But it's very rapid fire. There's like a fire. We've always talked about there's a fire hose of information in these books. And normally there's like a fire hose of information with a little sprinkling of like wider Cosmere. But this is like the opposite. It's a fire hose of, this is the Cosmere. This is going to be the cosmic war between Odium and the other shards. Oh, and by the way, this is happening on Roshar. That's what kind of what it felt like to me.
Yeah,
with most of the characters, I guess mainly with like Dalinar, Navani, and Kaladin. Adolin's pretty normal. He's just kind of doing his thing, and Azir trying to not die.
Yeah. I think like Adolin and Sigzil kind of feel like they're the ones that have the Roshar story.
Yeah, and Venli, I would say, those,
those three. Venli too, and Szeth, I guess he's not really doing Cosmere stuff really yet.
Yeah, but just Adolin interacting with the wind and stuff has been interesting. But yeah, it's also been cool just to see how the war in Roshar came how it is, and how they just got worn down, and I think it provided really cool perspective on like why the heralds failed and what they did. And we also got a really sweet revelation that made Talon even more cool. So up to this point, everyone thinks like, oh, maybe the Everstorm just triggered it. But like, no, he wouldn't. Talon had to break, but then you figure out Talon didn't break.
Yeah,
he never did, and it was because Shallan's mom is Chanarak or Chana, one of the heralds, and so she's like part herald. So when Shallan killed Chana, she went to Braze, and then Chana broke, which is what started this whole thing.
Yeah,
and so I thought that was really cool. And I'm kind of curious to see where that goes, because Shallan's like part herald, which I don't even know what that means, because our heralds aren't even, I mean, they're immortal, and they're like pretty much beings of investiture. Like they say their bodies form out of pure, like they just form out of, I'm assuming, investiture.
Oh yeah, because they're not like the fused in order to be reborn. They have to take over a singer's body.
Yeah, but the heralds just form.
I never thought about that.
I don't even know what that means, but apparently her body works. She had 4 kids.
Yeah.
Right? 4? Yeah. 5?
I'm pretty sure it was 4. She's got 4. No.
So it was Helleran, Shallan, the twins, and the other kid that got crippled. So yeah, I think 5.
Yeah, 4 brothers. That's what I
forget all their names.
We don't see them enough I don't remember their names. If like you list all the names.
After Shallan's, was it Rhythm of War? No, not really. Was it Words of Radiance? That was Shallan's background in the interludes. That was like 7 years ago. Was that Shallan?
No, that was Oathbringer, because I'm pretty sure Venli was the one in Rhythm of War.
I meant Words of Radiance.
Oh.
I think with Words of Radiance, Shallan.
Yeah, you're right. What was Oathbringer then?
Dalinar.
Oh yeah, Dalinar.
And then Rhythm of War. What the frick was Rhythm of War?
Venli.
It's
Speaking of the
And then this one,
going back,
Zeth.
yeah, seeing Zeth's past is really interesting.
I didn't realize how old Zeth was. I always just assumed he was Kaladin's age, but he's actually a lot older.
Yeah, like Kaladin's in his early 20s, like 21, 22, something like that. I think at this point. But I think Zeth is like 14 or 15 years old or something like that. He's in his 30s, like I think. Yeah. But dang, Zeth has... I feel bad for Zeth.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because it wasn't like... I think it was just kind of like assumed, not like explicitly said that Zeth was kind of the way he was because of his oath stone and his exile.
That's exactly what I assumed.
But then you find out that, no, he's just been that way since a kid. He just always wanted to know what exact truth is. And he wanted someone to tell him what exact truth is because he always had a hard time figuring it out ever since he was a kid.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. That like totally shaped his life. Like each chapter of his life just going through. And it was interesting to see because he started off as like a shepherd. And then he found a rock. And then he killed a dude with the rock. And then he became a soldier. And then he became an officer. And then he went on a pilgrimage to get an honor blade, and then he became an honor bearer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say too much because I'm a little ahead of you, but I don't remember if
I'm a little into day.
I don't know, but what's happening with Zeth though? Do you remember the last thing happened with Zeth?
Last thing I read was Zeth is he found out his dad became the bondsmith.
Okay, so what I was about to say is fine.
And now that's the last thing I think he told his dad, like, you tell me what to do and I'll do it.
And that's when they made him truthless.
I haven't gotten to the part where they made him truthless yet. I thought
that was in that same chapter.
No, because that's exactly where it ends. He turns to his dad and says, "Tell me what to do, and I'll do it." And then it goes to the next chapter. So I already knew he's truthless, obviously, because I read the other books. But
yeah, okay. But I was just say so he went from a shepherd to an honor bearer that tried to start a civil war.
Yeah.
And then he became truthless.
Yeah, and
because his dad is.
We already figured this out because like we learned in previous books that the reason he was branded truthless is because like he said, the desolation has started and the Voidbringers are back, and it was like no lies.
But we never in the other books we never knew why he knew that. And
Right.
It turns out he was actually wrong and right at the same time.
Yeah,
because it turns out there's an unmade who has, as far as we know, set up in Shinovar and taken over.
Yes, the voice.
Yes. I am the voice that drove Seth crazy. It's called the Gomez. Rewrite that song.
Yeah. Were you shocked that his dad became an honor bearer? I was. It's like, what the F?
Yeah, I think it was kind of like, oh, jeez. But then once it explained it, it kind of made sense because, at least why Zeth didn't know, because Zeth was so focused on what he was doing, he didn't know what any of his family was doing, really.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, it's been like 7 months since I've talked to Elid.
Yeah, I think at this point, he knew, like, Elid even kind of, like, she's very upset with Zeth. Like, he ruined her life. Even though, in my opinion,
and his mom abandoned him and like started.
I think it was Naturo's fault that Elid's life was ruined, because he was the one who was like following Zeth and forcing the rest of the family to go. Zeth didn't want to do any of this stuff. He wanted to remain a freaking sheep farmer.
Yeah.
Zeth didn't. He fought the bondsmith already, didn't he?
No. His pilgrimage. No. Bondsmith is the last.
I mean, like with him and Kaladin.
No, the bondsmith is the last on the pilgrimage, I'm sure.
Okay, because I was trying to figure out if like his dad was still around, so I don't know yet.
And the whole time that he's on his pilgrimage, Kaladin's learning how to play the flute.
Yes, the flute, and be a therapist.
There's one funny part you haven't got to yet that made me laugh out loud. I don't know why. just like, it's so random. I was like, oh.
There's so many parts like that something I love. I swear there's who all is it? It must just be Syl that I'm thinking of, who's got a bunch of her little typical lines where she says something really silly and it's funny.
Yeah. Oh, something weird. I don't know why this something weird that happened. It's kind of made me wonder like what's all going on with Wit. But it's whenever they're in a vision, Dalinar and Navani, and they see Wit, like the vision of the past, like the Wit in the past is like aware that he's a vision, kind of like this weird.
Yeah.
But then like other things, like it shows honor, it shows, I think it even shows like other beings of high investiture that in the visions aren't all like aware. But Wit and the wind They're both like aware that they're in visions and that Dallin and Navani are from the future.
Yeah, and
it's kind of
I don't think. I mean, the wind can. We learned that can see like they're in the vision in the past, but is also aware that of the future in the same area and stuff like that. But I don't know if Wit is. If he is sitting there in year 3, like, oh yeah, there they are.
I don't even know.
Wit is such a mystery.
Yes, he is. Wait until you get to the end of the book. I'm like, what? WT to the F.
I'm scared.
Finally answered some timeline questions, though.
Oh, nice. I'll look forward to that.
Which is kind of cool.
I think I got myself confused because we do see Moash again, and he's all like depressed, I guess, because his pain is no longer taken away. Because I think it's because Reese died, and Taravangian didn't take his pain, so he's all like feeling guilty about all of his crap, and he's blind and stuff. But I read it wrong or something, because I totally thought he was made into an Inquisitor.
They did use hemalurgy, but
not the metal spikes, so it's something different.
Yeah, because whenever he gets seen by his friends, he's described as having like crystals.
Yeah,
but they still stick out the back of his head, and so they use something. And so I wonder if it doesn't necessarily have to be. What is it? Steel? I don't know. Is it tin?
Oh, is that what those metal spikes are made of?
I don't know. I'm guessing because tin eye is the one that increases senses.
I don't remember what they said. It's been so long since I read Miss.
I don't remember. So, but I'm wondering if it's just some other form of something that I don't even know. But my knowledge of Mistborn and the elementic metals are definitely not complete. And so when I said crystals, it made me wonder if like you could just use in pure investiture to do something.
Maybe.
And just like in the Lost Metal, when there's just that pool of pure investiture, the Allomancers were able to use it without ingesting metal. Which further, I still want to know if a freaking Leecher can steal Stormlight from a Radiant.
You should email Brandon. I don't want to wait the whole year to try and get a question.
I work not far away from Dragonsteel headquarters.
Just go knock on the door.
Just go knock on the door.
Got a really quick question.
Get over here.
That was really funny. But man, I still like processing how the heck they got hemalurgy onto Roshar. Or I'm really just surprised there's people there who know how to do it. Who even did that? I don't even remember.
Taravangian did, I'm pretty sure. Odium.
Okay. So I guess
he was there, so maybe he's not the one who did it. Maybe they just have a Scadrian connection. Because there are Scadrians, like Felt is from Scadrial, and Yatil. And so maybe they're just people that just know. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if Odium was there, that would at least mean Odium probably knows how hemalurgy works. Could have been like, here's the instructions to do it. And
yeah, maybe that's why it looks different, because maybe he did it. Maybe he did the equivalent of hemalurgy, but with Odium's power rather than Ruins, and so it looks different.
Which,
who knows? Maybe it's like the same
thing.
Kind of.
I mean, that works for me, I guess.
It's the same way of like Stormlight and Voidlight.
Yeah,
like Stormlight's from Honor and Voidlight's from Odium, but they both essentially do the same thing, but they don't work for other people. Like I don't know if that. So I wonder if that kind of that.
I wonder if it had to be different. Like if you took the Inquisitor spikes, whatever metal that is, and stuck it in a Roshar and on Roshar, would it be like, well, you just killed and nothing happened?
Probably, because Brandon has talked a lot about connection, and you have to be like connected to the planet or something for certain things to work. So maybe. I don't know. But but considering the fact that he sees the way an Inquisitor sees, like it still works the same way.
Yeah.
But it's just done differently, maybe. I don't know.
What is the name of Kelsier's brother? Because I always get Moash.
It's very similar to, it's like Marsh, I think.
Oh yeah, Marsh. I think that sounds right.
Moash Marsh.
When I first read these, I was like, well, Moash is in Mistborn. Oh no, it's different. Marsh. I was so confused. I freaking hate Moash so much now. I was wondering before starting this book of like if there would be something redeeming for Moash, because he seemed like he was out of the story. He's not going to be able to be Vire. And,
No, but he just comes in and kills someone.
yeah, gosh. Kills, what's his name?
Leighton.
Gosh dang it.
I don't know why. Whenever I see Leighton, I think of Tarzan. I don't know why. Just Tarzan going, Clayton.
Oh, I guess. That's pretty dang close. Clayton,
I don't know. It's just one of those things. I'm like, why is my brain making this connection? It's like I see your Leighton. I'm just like, Leighton. Like every time I see his name, I'm like, Leighton. Leighton said, no, Leighton.
Well, he's dead now, so you won't have that problem.
So I won't have that problem.
Oh,
Momash is extra cruel, though, because he always makes a point to kill the Spren and then the Radiant, almost like it's intentionally causing pain and loss.
He is quite a son of a bee.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a reason. Like, I wonder how quickly, if you kill a Radiant Knight, how quickly does the Spren go back to the cognitive realm? So maybe he has to kill the Spren first, but still, he's obviously doing it, like the way he looks and does and acts, he's obviously doing it to cause pain, even if it's necessary to kill the Spren first.
I wonder if it is. I don't quite understand myself how it works with the Spren being in the physical realm. Because I'm thinking of Notum.
So Notum's like an exception. It's like I think
is he okay?
I think they even mentioned he's like, I don't know how I'm doing it, but I'm here without a bond.
Okay. So maybe Moash does have to do it that way, to not only to just be more cruel, but maybe if he killed the Radiant, the Spren would be able to escape at least, or maybe they are sucked back into Shadesmar pretty quick. But son of a crap. I feel like, I want to know if you feel the same way about this as I do. I remember watching Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and at the end when they're on Geonosis and like they're all fighting the droids, and you just see Jedi just dropping everywhere. And it made me crazy, because it's like the Jedi are supposed to be like some of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Like you can't just blast them. I mean, there's a lot of arguments probably you could make, like, well, there's like 1,000 droids and like 5 Jedi, so of course they're gonna get shot up. But I always hated that. It made me crazy that like all these cool Jedi were just dying. And I feel the same way about this in like Sigzil's position, because like all the Radiants are just dying left and right. I mean, there are a lot of, I think maybe it's like a lot of Squires and then a few Radiants.
Yeah.
But it's making me crazy. They're all, and this one's a little different than like the Jedis, because these guys are super new, and maybe the most experience of them maybe has like a year under their belt of being a Radiant. So, and
they're fighting people that have been at war for thousands of years.
Yeah, so it makes a little bit more sense in their situation, but it still makes me crazy that all these awesome Radiants and stuff are just like, and then there's Sigzil just killing everyone. Has anything else with Moash changed, or did he just has his eyesight back with like an Inquisitor would? He doesn't have any sort of almantic powers, does he? Will he get any? That's what I wondered.
I guess technically.
But he probably maybe won't find out for a while or something, because they probably don't have metals on Roshar that he can ingest and start doing all that stuff. He'll just keep doing Windrunner stuff.
Because I don't know because I don't think Hemalurgy gives you Alamance, or does it?
I don't remember. Because the Inquisitors could use it, couldn't they? Or they just had like one or something.
I don't remember.
I don't either.
I need to reread Arrow 1, because I'm thinking now, I don't ever remember there being a scene that says, and the Inquisitor drank a vial.
No, I don't remember that either, but I swear they would do stuff. What made the Inquisitors so...
Their spikes. The Hemalurgy gave them the powers. But I just don't remember them having to take metal to use the powers.
They just... You're saying they had allomantic powers, they just weren't drinking vials.
I think the Inquisitor... I think if you are hemalurgic... I don't even know if that's a word. If you're hemalurgied up to the level of an Inquisitor, maybe you don't need to ingest vials. But obviously, if you don't have a few spikes, you do, because you have, like, Wax's sister and his uncle and stuff, I'm sure, took vials to do stuff. And then also the not Wax and not Wayne people had to take vials, and they had hemalurgic spikes. And so I wonder if it's like either we're just completely forgetting and the Inquisitors did have to take metal in order to use their powers, or there was, when they got to that certain point of hemalurgy, they didn't. It was like almost became a different thing.
But you remember that they could use allomancy.
Yeah, but it was like different at the same time. Like I don't remember them ever doing pushes or pulls. Or maybe they did. I'm trying to remember the Vin scene where they were chasing her and they were doing pushes and pulls.
Yeah, gosh dang it.
I need to reread Era 1.
Seriously.
There's no Inquisitors in Era 2.
I know.
And that's the most recent one I've read. It's been years since I've read Era 1.
Yeah, same. Holy crap.
I'm in the mood. I want to read it.
I do too, especially like if you go scroll on any sort of social media with people reading books, like Stormlight and Mistborn are the two big ones of Brandon's books that are talked about. So I'm always like, shut up, I want to read it.
That was a good one. You can go back to Vin and then Elend and
their team.
Whoever the heck. And Kelsier, who's like Thydakar in this book and forming of the Ghost Blood. I need to reread Secret History too.
Yeah, gosh dang. That's a big one I need to reread. I feel like I read that one while I was half asleep.
It feels like that so much has come out since then. I need to like reread it so I can get the connections. Now I'm probably missing stuff.
Do you know, has it been mentioned or anything, are there odiums, Bren?
Yeah, Void Spren.
Void Spren or the odium Spren, okay. Because I was like, they always talk about like honor Spren, cultivation Spren. Yeah,
but I don't think there are unintelligent Void Spren. I think the Void Spren are all like you were saying, all like the Radiant Spren and the Void Spren are all the same. I don't think there's like, unless you count the corrupted ones by Jotnot, like the normal just emotion Spren are just Spren, which are all part of honor. I think.
Okay.
I don't know. Are emotion Spren part of honor, or were they there before? It's just the Radiant Spren that are part of honor. I don't know. I just don't know.
I'm not sure on that part myself.
You have to pay attention in these next chapters that you're reading now, because we get a cool thing after day 9 is the back in time switches from Zeth to honor.
Oh, I have gotten that far. So I'm far enough to where I'm getting like honors like 10,000 years ago.
I know, but you haven't read all of it yet.
I haven't read all of it yet.
But in the first parts, doesn't he talk about how when he first came to Roshar, and didn't he say something about there being Spren there or not? Or did he say that he invested it and then made it?
Son of a gun, I already forgot.
I thought there's like one little sentence in there about it.
There might be. Anyway. I was too focused on like him and the cultivation's little romance.
I know, they're all like, and cultivation, I don't know. You didn't finish the book, so I don't worry about spoiling stuff. I don't think it's a spoiler because cultivation's natural form. Did you gotten that part?
Yeah, I've gotten. So we know that the one in the back of the book is cultivation. That's
her human avatar, but her actual form before she took up the shard of cultivation.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
I might not have read it.
I won't say anything because I'm pretty sure you would have remembered.
Okay. Now I'm really curious.
So I was like, summon a bitch. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I don't think I've read it because if it was that big, then
you would have remembered. Okay. Yeah. There's no way you would have forgot.
I haven't got that far. I think the next chapter I'm reading is a flashback to Honor's perspective.
It's in one of the flashbacks. Like, is that like they formed to talk, and then he mentions like, oh, she took this form, which was what she was before.
Oh, okay.
So
then describes it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was anything really interesting about Honor's perspectives, and
there definitely is. I don't know if you've got. There's like, it's hard to say next episode.
We'll get to that next episode. Let's just say that
there's a couple of things where I was like, oh dang.
Okay, cool.
Like, oh dang.
Let's get into that for this episode then. Do you have any oh dang moments in this one?
The biggest one for me was Chana and realizing that Ton never broke, which I thought was sick. And then the other oh dang moment. Have you gotten to the point where in Azir when Ash and Ton fight?
Yes. Holy
Moses. That was an oh dang moment. He moved so fast he caused a sonic boom.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane. I can't believe they killed him. That's what blew me away. It's like he did so much devastation, and the fuse that found
him
unarmed.
He was literally wearing nothing but pants.
Yeah.
And I made it seem like he killed hundreds, and they were all like fused.
Yeah.
He killed fused. And they were terrified of him and Ash together. And then he was pierced by like many, many different spears.
Yeah.
But they said that was totally in par with Tom, because whenever in the previous books, the heralds were always like, Tom always went to the thickest battles, the most impossible battles, and somehow managed to win. And he totally did that in this time. Yeah.
So this actually leads me to one point that I want to say real quick. I do have one big gripe with this book so far, that I am so disappointed we didn't get to see it. We didn't see Tom fight from like Aelin's perspective or some other soldier.
Yeah.
That would have been so amazing. But it's also kind of, I can see maybe why Brandon did it that way, because like you go onto the devastation. We know at this point how difficult the fuse are. And one thing we haven't talked about is one of the art pieces they do in this book is they have like they show the posters of all the fuse. Like, oh, this is a fuse. Beware the fuse. Do not engage. Find a radiant. Like, this is this huge thing. Fused are incredibly dangerous, and we've seen Sigzil having difficulty killing some of the fused as well for various reasons. And so, there's all this buildup that the fused are incredibly powerful, but then suddenly, Talon comes in and is just like, whatever, you guys suck, and this murders them.
Yeah. And Talon even has a reputation because there's one fuse that's coming in, Abadai?
Sure, Abadai.
Abadai. But he's like this really well-known fuse that's like been challenging Adolin this whole time, and he's like a really good fighter.
Yeah.
But as soon as he sees Talon, he immediately runs.
Yeah.
That was like part of the powerful moment. He's like, that was so cool.
Yeah. Oh, that was super awesome for sure. I am really sad that he's like dead again. I wonder if he'll come back. Because all the fused and stuff are still there. And we find out, that Chana was the one who started this desolation.
Your question is answered in the next 2 days.
Son of a freaking A. Okay.
I'll just say that.
To be answered later.
But yeah, he is in Braze now, I guess you could say. That's what you're...
Yeah, him and Ash. Ash was killed too. Did she?
And Chana's in Braze right now too.
She is? She didn't come back?
She died again.
Oh.
So Shallan killed her when she was a kid, and then she lasted a little while and then died. And then lasted a little while and Braze broke and then died again. Because remember when Shallan was in her vision of her wedding? When she confronted Chana?
She was there, yeah.
Yeah, she realized that Chana was actually there. And then she was actually there because she was on Braze and the spiritual realm was able to come.
Oh, so do we know how she was killed again?
I think Chana just said like, yeah, a few months ago I died. I don't remember if she said exactly.
She didn't really get into it.
And then she's like, all this time I'm not gonna break. And then she like runs away. So she's like, they're here, and then runs away.
I totally took that as like she's not. I swear. Sometimes you get like focused on things and you kind of just skip over the other stuff. Dang, she actually is her mother and all that, whatever. Because I totally was thinking like she was on Braze still because Shallan had killed her years ago. I didn't realize that she had come back, but I knew that. No, I knew that. I just totally missed that she died again and was just like, yeah, whatever, she's back.
Yeah.
Whatever. I need to reread this book already.
Also, I want to play Towers. That sounds like a fun game.
Yeah, totally.
It sounds cool. Like you put out cards, and when the card flips over, you have a figurine to replace it. I'm like, that sounds like a pretty cool game.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, that's an idea. They've done all these Brotherwise games. They should totally.
Yeah, they should totally do that. Why the heck not?
That'd be kind of cool.
I have been wondering, to put it like your coworker says, how the Sanderson slap in this book is going to be. Just because up till day 8, it's already insanity. We see like Adolin is really struggling to.
I've already had this. Sanderson
I know,
slap.
but you can deal with my going through it now.
At least what I think is a Sanderson slap.
Yeah, but I'm expecting it because it seems like in the other books it's kind of like, oh wow, that's crazy. Oh wow, that's crazy. And then you get to the end, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I'm already at that holy crap moment, like with seeing Tal learning all these things in the spiritual realm with Dalinar and Navani, and then everything Kaladin and Zeth is going through, all the things Sigzil and Aelin's going through. It's just like, holy freaking hey, what the heck?
Yeah. One thing I do like about this book is I think Brandon has answered all of the Roshar specific questions.
Oh really? Give me a question.
Like what they always said, like Talon was the one herald who shouldn't have been part of us, and he's the one that stayed the strongest. And we see that scene where they recruit Talon.
Yeah.
And like the answering the questions, like what really happened to all the desolations, like all those type of questions are like being answered.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know what amazes me is I didn't even think about this, is we have seen, what was it? It was Ishar, who was the bondsmith, right? Who we see how good he was. He was an amazing fighter. And then we've seen throughout this a few books now, Nail as well is like a really good fighter. And he made Kaladin look like a chump. Fighting him there
Kaladin had to beat him with therapy.
Yeah, exactly. Because he couldn't face him from sword to sword. But then you see those two, and then you see Taln, and Taln feels like he is a whole new level of Harold.
Even the Stormfather even said that, I think, right? When Dalinar was like, how good are the fighters? And he was like, oh, Ishtar was like, all right. Yeah, and then he was like, Talon was always the best. And then you see, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah, jeez. Like, and this blows me away because we see, I'm probably getting into like day 8. We see Nail talks about like he had to use his Herald abilities. And I was like, what? That was a surprising thing to learn for me because I thought the Herald abilities were just whatever sword they had. Yeah. I didn't realize that they had more than just radiant
ability. You do get answers to that. Pay attention to, it's one of those little things in those past that Honor just like mentions it in one sentence. What that is.
Freaking Brandon, I swear.
He does it on purpose.
I know. I always just think, he was just sitting there, he'd be like, laughing to himself at home. Saying, what up, or I don't know.
Well, that reminds me of another Odang moment I had. Nightblood. Nightblood has a pretty interesting story. And then one thing I'll mention is he can apparently talk with the Honor Blades.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
The Honor Blades, we know the Honor Blades aren't Spren. But like just him talking to them is like...
And we haven't heard, like, Zeth never talked about how he hasn't said anything about... You didn't hear the Blade saying anything like he does with Nightblood or anything.
Yeah, because all we know from the Honor Blades, from the flashbacks that Dalinar saw, is that when they made the Oath Pact, they just kind of, like, formed from Honor. And so they're not... Yeah, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I forgot we talked about that already, but... That comes up more, I think, in later... chapters that I quite like.
It's really interesting to me to look at the reader experience just from reading Brandon's books because, like, I sit here and go, "Oh, Brandon," but I'm not like you stupid writer. I'm like, you jerk, because you make me want more.
I know. I will say this book ends in a way that makes me mad that Brandon isn't immediately writing Arc 2.
Oh no. I'm not looking forward to that. I was already like.
It's
torturing
myself. It's not an intense cliffhanger, but it's definitely an ending where you're like, no, that is not okay to do that to me.
I really want you to get to be able to ask him a question, though, so you can definitely be like, first of all, how dare you?
Like, first of all, how dare you? Second of all, more, please.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks to hear, actually, because I was already like dreading finishing this book. And be like, I have to wait like 8 more years to get the next book, and then who knows how many more years after that.
I do say, I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to spoil too much of the emotion that I felt. So not with anything else.
You just have to hold until you burst.
Yeah, I'll talk about it next episode. The next episode.
Yes. One other thing I'm really anxious to learn to get resolved. And then you need to shut up. But I was really surprised that Adolin lost part of his leg.
Okay, I haven't been mentioning that because I have no idea where the F you are. But yeah,
that happens like just before he goes back and discovers that Talon had like freaking devastated the fuse.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay.
Like he got a friggin' thunderclast landed on him and only broke. Actually, I was more surprised. Like he only lost his leg. Really surprised he wasn't like broken from neck down.
They made it seem like the way they described it seemed like it fell on most of him, but his leg was under a more hard part. I don't know. They said it was like practically like smashed into pulp.
Yeah, it was.
They almost made it seem like when they pulled him out of the rubble, the leg just kind of stayed there.
Yeah, something like that. I kind of imagined like a watermelon just.
Yeah.
His leg.
I was like,
but I'm really curious to see what goes on with there because I'm like curious to see if I'm almost expecting like they keep talking about how they need a more experienced Radiant to grow his leg back because whatever Radiant was there wasn't experienced enough to.
Almost seems like she was still technically a squire.
Oh, maybe that's what it was too. All they said was that she couldn't do it.
She had did she have? I don't know. Anyway, she was new.
Yeah. So I'm curious if that's gonna work because I kind of think it won't. But then I'm also thinking like maybe he's still. you keep that to yourself. But what I'm kind of also expecting is like maybe he will officially bond Maya and she'll come like less. Stop it. How dare you?
I am very satisfied with Adolin's arc. I did like Adolin's story. I did feel kind of bad for him though. Because ever since Radiant started coming back, he's always like down on himself. He's like, I'm so irrelevant. Now he has no leg, and he's like even more irrelevant.
Yeah, seriously, he had to like really, he had to go through so much hardness to take down a one Thunderclass, and now he's just like,
and now he has no leg, and he's like, oh, well, I felt useless before.
Yeah,
I can't even flip him.
I definitely felt that for him. And then all these like giant enemies cheat because like they're so thick you can't stab a shard blade in there enough to like actually kill it or anything.
I don't know. I remember we were always like, why are shard blades so stinking long? And I'm like, they need to be longer.
Seriously, I keep thinking like
they don't even need to be that thick. You can literally make it the length of like a fishing line, and then just and then just go through anything.
And I think if the Radiance Warriors experience as Sigzil was on Sunlit Man, then they probably would have been like, oh, I'm just going to make like a 300-foot long thing. And
we even learned like from Sunlit Man that what the Spren can turn into is totally limited only by your imagination and what you can are capable of. I think
they can imagine a pretty long sword or spear or something. Yeah. So I'm really excited to see.
Like a clothesline. Can you imagine two Radiants in shard plate with a clothesline just running through a Thunderclass, just like sink?
Yeah, there you go. I mean, why not? It'll work.
Yeah. Or like even if you go simpler, remember that when Adolin was trying to trip the Thunderclass, he had that huge chain. It could be a shard chain that was that big. So
yeah, there you go. And
it wouldn't break.
I was gonna say Kaladin's kind of getting into that now because he still formed into a flute.
Oh yeah, that's true. So, that's the first non-weapon that she's formed into. Mm-hmm.
So maybe Lift's I don't think
Lift's the only one that's done like a non-weapon.
Yeah.
And no, what's her name? One of the Windrunners uses it as a pen.
Oh, as a pen, yeah. So there's definitely in there, but I don't think they haven't fully been like, oh, wait a minute, this opens like a whole huge world that we could of things we could do with these shards, and it's just I think it's been because it's been. Wait a minute. It's been 4,500 years since the Heralds quit.
Since our Harietium,
but
and like 2,500 since the Recreants.
Okay, that's what I want to know. So 2,500 years, I think it's just been seated in everyone's mind that they've got shard plate and shard blades, and the blades are meant to like kill crap, and that's what they do.
And then once the powers come back, they're immediately thrown into a war. So why would you think of anything other than a weapon?
Yeah. I would love to see the things that like Navani and Yasna could come up with, like, hey, make your shard blade into this, and like, woo. To your face. I'm curious.
I realized my mic was been off this whole time.
You liar.
Just kidding.
I've been watching your levels. Another arc I'm really curious about, just because we know that Sigzil Spren is auxiliary. What the heck happens to Vienta? But we'll find out. I'll find out. You already know. I should confiscate your books.
I will. I do have a complaining rant still about Sunlit Man, even more so than when we started this book.
Oh no!
After this book ends, oh no! So I'm like, son of a Brandon, how dare you release Sunlit Man before this is flipping over? You suck. Why are you spoiling this?
One day we'll make Brandon answer for his sins.
I know. Talk about an afterlife. The first thing I'm doing is finding Brandon and being like.
In the afterlife, you just punch him in the face. How dare you?
And now that I'm sitting down and make him ask all my questions.
Yeah. There you go.
And since he died before me, I'm like, did you finish all your books? I'm worried. How long did it take him to write these first 5 Stormlight Archive books?
A long time.
Like what, 10, 15 years?
Closer to 10, I think.
So, and he's not even starting Arc 2 yet. He's starting Mistborn Era 3.
Yeah.
So how long does it even freaking take before we get the next 5?
15, 20 years. Oh my gosh, we're all going to be old and decaying by the time
I know. I'm going to be an old grandpa reading this book, and then Brandon's going to be like dead. And it's going to be his son writing it or something.
He better train his son how to write really well. Well, I at least have much to look forward to in reading. You can just sit there and agonize while I read.
I know. I'm kind of depressed.
Yeah.
It's like that
Okay, that's how I was.
It's like that depressed feeling you get, like, you know, when like just a really good movie is over, you're just like really satisfied, but also just like, damn it.
Yeah,
like,
I get that feeling because it's like I don't want to go back to real life.
When Return of the King ends and they're like walking back to the Shire, you're just like,
yeah,
like this sucks.
Because it's like you have to leave the world, and then it all kind of you get like the questions in your head were like, what happened after that? Well, what happened after this? And like you just want to, you get so invested in the world and the characters, you want to keep going with their stories.
Exactly.
That's what I'm scared of. I'm gonna have to reread Mistborn just so I don't cry myself to sleep.
Mistborn Era 1. I'm totally down for a reread of Mistborn Era 1. I might just do that.
Yeah, we've not talked about it on this podcast. Maybe we could do that and
revisit Vin.
give our hot take. It's been so long. I bet you there's going to be a ton of little things that we missed. And
yeah, the only larger Cosme reference I remember that's in Era 1, not in Secret History or anything, is Hoyd is a contact for Kelsier when they're trying to overthrow the Lord Ruler. I almost said first ruler, and I was like,
that's close enough.
Lord Ruler.
Yeah, I think that about does it. Yeah. Any last remarks, complaints?
No, next week we'll be talking about
days
8, 9, 10, and the epilogue.
Yeah. We're finishing the book.
And just talking about our thoughts and feelings and what's next in the Cosmere and what's next for this podcast, what book we're doing next, if we even know by then.
Maybe we'll hate Brandon by the end of this. Probably not. That's not true.
I complained about the book earlier, and I stand by those complaints, but it's still an excellent Brandon Sanderson book.
Okay.
And I think it's a good conclusion to this arc of the Stormlight.
Oh, good. But you still hate it.
Yes. I hate Sunlit Man more. I never should have read that damn book.
Well, you can take that as our official recommendation. Do not read Sunlit Man until you've read the entire Stormlight archive. We'll save you the...
It just took out some of the... I hate when tension is taken out. Like right when Sigzil's about to be stabbed by Moash, I'm like, nope, I don't even care.
Oh, yeah.
Next. Skip.
Yeah, we know you're not going to die.
Although I was like, what's about to happen if I end up
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, thanks for joining us for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you'll come back for next episode, the conclusion of Wind and Truth.
Stormlight Archive.
It's going to be a sad episode. We're going to need tissues.
It's not that
sad. All right, we'll catch y'all later.
All right, bye. It's over.